In this world of madness, Cobra making their moves. Heart the leader stands firm, with style and flair. He's got honor, he's got courage, he's amplified with insight. General Hawk takes a stand, ready to fight. General Hawk is the leader and we're all ready to fight. Yo, Joe, united we stand, we're ready to go. Yo, Joe, against Cobra we'll overthrow. With courage and honor we'll never rest. Yo, Joe, together we'll defeat the enemy's quest.
From the hilt cautions that this program may contain mature content, possibly even strong language, violent implications, and sexual innuendos. Viewer discretion is advised. In spite of all that, we hope you enjoy the show. Thank you.
Greetings, I'm Logan the G.I. Joe Gamer. In the chat tonight, we've got a couple of friends. Thank you for being here, Superior Cyber Godzilla. But because it's just you and Jess here, we'll pop these out tonight.
Well, look who it is. Let's say it together now, y'all. Hello, Superior Cyber Godzilla.
Then, of course, we have Jess. How you doing, Jess? It's good to see you both tonight. But we've got this one.
Well, now, I guess Jess Laws decided to stop washing her hair. Welcome, Jess.
Glad to see both of you. We'll get everything kicked off tonight. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, and I don't know about the chat. Sometimes you just have to refresh it. It's weird. It is kind of weird. So tonight I've got 3 Joe Takes classics for you. I've got Tiger Force, I've got Spirit with Freedom, and I also have Cobra Officer at the end. And of course, when near the end, I'll come back on and I will play a couple of file cards for you, Spirit with Freedom, and I will play also Night Adder, which is my version of Cobra Officer. So those are my updates for those videos. Also, right now I wanted to talk a little bit about our Patreon, just so you guys know we have one. If you would like to help support us, please do so. If not, don't worry about it. You know, that's life. I mean, but we appreciate anything you guys can do to help us out. All right. On that note, let's just jump right into the Joe Takes Classics. I'm going to put this up here and we'll get us started, and then I'll pop off the screen and just be in the chat. All right. I'll make sure it's going. Looks like it is. Take this banner down to serve its purpose. All right, I'll be in.
I wanted one of those cute little tiger striped uniforms. Not likely coming home.
Greetings and welcome to Joe Takes 35 in the new year here, 2024. How you doing, Per? Welcome. It's nice to see you here tonight. Tonight I'm talking about Tiger Force, the largest G.I. Joe sub-team that has existed, and the G.I. Joe-verse is like what I like to call it. Let me put on a little bit of background music so that we can have a little bit, so that there's no dead air behind me. Glad to see you, bud. Now, what I normally do when I look at, I give my take on G.I. Joe, I start with the vintage figures, and I don't have all the vintage Tiger Force figures, but I do have 6 to show you. I used to have all the ones that they sold in stores. I no longer have my Duke figure, my Dusty, or my Ricondo, which I used to have. But I do have tripwire, which I always thought looked really good in this particular uniform. The only other tripwire I had up to this point when this came out in 1988 was the Listen and Fun tripwire that came out in 1985, which was bright orange and red. So I really didn't care for that one, but when this one came out, I was really excited to get me a tripwire. He's a really cool figure. Of course, they had to include a heavy machine gunner, so they had to have Roadblock. Now, I'm really expecting a Roadblock in the classified line, maybe a tripwire too, since they finally brought tripwire out as well. So, yeah. I have a lot of the original accessories that came with these figures, but some of them I just gave them accessories because I had the figure and I don't know exactly what happened to the accessories. It has been more than 35 years. So the next one we'll look at is Bazooka. Now, Bazooka is a really cool character. He doesn't get a lot of love sometimes. We see he said first says Roadblock was a trip. He wasn't scared of anything, and he always pulled his weight. Yes, sir, he did. He's also got the biggest heart of any other of the Joes. I really like Roadblock. He's in my top 5 favorite G.I. Joes. Bazooka, now, I had the original Bazooka, but when this guy came out, he looked so much cooler to me. Although I decided that some of the things on this particular figure weren't as cool as the original, so I would always switch up the backpack to the original. Now, my original Bazooka I used for parts because I had this one, and I did that a lot. And I had no notion that I was going to be a collector as an older adult, as a teenage boy. And when I went into my 20s, I kind of stopped collecting for a while because I didn't have the notion that I was a G.I. Joe collector, as it were. But Bazooka was really cool. I thought this particular helmet did not really look good on this figure. I liked his original helmet from the original Bazooka. So this is normally the way I display him. Now, this particular Bazooka backpack has one of the missile heads broken off. So sometimes I use the other one, and sometimes I use that one, but I prefer to match it up with the helmet. And so I really like that one. Next up I have is Flint, who is the Tiger Force leader, as far as him being the officer, and Duke is the platoon sergeant. Now, these were really cool figures. This definitely wasn't his original shotgun. But his original shotgun was really small, and I have mine for my original Flint, which I still have. I did do a Joe take on Flint. You can check that out. But I replaced it with this big old combat assault shotgun, and this guy's really old, so he has a hard time, staying stiff and holding things up. But I like that combat assault shotgun, and I'm not sure if this is the pack he came with or one from accessory pack, but that is a Flint backpack. Okay, the next one is Lifeline. Now, Lifeline, same situation with Bazooka. I pretty much used my original Lifeline for parts, and I like this one better. The bright red, I know he was a rescue trooper, but it just didn't seem like it would made a lot of sense for him to be roaming around the jungle in a bright red suit. But this one was a lot better. So when they come up with a Lifeline, I hope they do a Tiger Force figure too. You haven't seen Flint in years? Yeah, like I said, I have the very first Joe Take I did. Joe Takes #1 was my Flint video. So if you want, you can look back through there and check that out. Now, yeah, I just not knowing what I was even doing with him. And Flint shotgun looks like a Frenchie Spas 12 gauge. It was popular a while back in those days. Yeah, it was. I liked it, but like I said, I lost it, so I decided to give him that bigger combat assault shotgun. And a lot of times, I do know some of the names of the other weapons and stuff, but I wasn't really into that aspect of it. I did do a lot of research for a book I did called The Great Fury, which is not G.I. Joe related, but it's definitely a military action book. It's a novel that I have available on Amazon.com by Christopher Hilt. That's my author name. Now, this is Sky Striker.
Now, I know they named him after the original G.I. Joe Jet. He came with the Tiger Rat, which was a G.I. Joe version, Tiger Force version of the Rattler from Cobra, which was a dynamite plane, but I never got that one. I do have like 2 or 3 Rattlers, but I never actually got the Tiger Force Rattler, which was really cool, and I wouldn't mind getting my hands on that one. Now, I do have some card examples from the 25th anniversary. I have Flip, and there was only 2 that came out on card in the 25th anniversary. They also came out with Wild Bill. He came with the Tiger Rat this go around. So I didn't manage to pick that one up. I wish I had, because that would have been a cool Wild Bill to have. But see how they list him as the Tiger Force leader. And I do have Duke, but my problem here is now this isn't really an on-card example any longer. Right up until like 2 weeks ago, I had this on card and on the wall, but my cat decided to take a whap at it, and so it just popped right off. So I might try to glue it back down, but it's not the same. Once it's damaged, it's damaged. So that's the story on that one. And let's see, you're referring to the shotgun that Flint has on him now? Yes. I don't recall what Flint originally had. It was just a little leaky, sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. Not really sawed off. It didn't have a stock, is what it was. Yeah, Odell. Yeah, it's cats. I love my cat. So hey, that's just how it is sometimes. Now, all the vintage vehicles for Tiger Force, I do have one. I never really got into the vehicle so much, but I did manage to pick up this one because I love the original so much, and mine was damaged. So I managed to acquire this. I didn't actually buy it new. I bought it from a friend, and I did have the Recondo that came with this. However, Recondo, I had the original 1984 Recondo. So again, he's one of those that as a younger man, I used him for parts. And the Tiger Force, the Tiger Fly, as they call it, the Dragonfly, the Tiger Force line is so cool. And my rotor still works. Now, I did manage to pick up a Locust, which came out in the year 2000 with Wild Bill. That was another reproduction of this. And that particular Dragonfly, which they call it a Locust, I don't know why, had black missiles. This one originally came with orange, which I never had. You never seen this one? Cool, I'm glad I could share it with you. It's definitely one of my favorite vehicles that I own. I have over 100 vehicles, and I definitely want to start sharing those with everybody too. I haven't really shared a lot of them. I've shared a few, but not a super amount. So I do love the way that they have the teeth on these a lot of these Tiger Force vehicles. You've only seen the first Dragonfly. Like I said, I do have one of those. And at some point, hopefully, if I ever pick up the classified Dragonfly, I'll be able to show them off and compare them together. That would be a lot of fun. Now, the Tiger Fly, again, around the same time, my cat knocked this down and actually broke the peg on this. So I'm going to have to do some repair work on the gun stock here. The peg is still in the strut, so I'm going to have to work that out. I'm going to set this back here while I continue to look at stuff. Now that you've seen all my vintage stuff, I do have a lot of classified, and we're going to start by looking at the box art like I normally do. Now, this one right here, they all had pretty much the same back with maybe different areas that they focused on. But this is Recondo. He was number 55 in the classified series. Go on top. And there's the box art there for Recondo. And I will be looking at each of the classified figures that I have a box for. And I love the artwork for Recondo. It was really, really good. Now, the problem is I don't have a lot of space to set these. So I'm just going to be setting them down here on the floor. Now, the next one in the series, this was actually 54 when it came out, right? they came out at the same time, so it doesn't really matter. I'm showing together was the bazooka. There's the back again. Cat, this is a joke. Yes, old cat ought to be going after Cobra, not G.I. Joe. I agree. She's on Cobra's side, my little Luna, I guess. But the box art for this bazooka was really cool. Now, they do have a newer version of bazooka, which I'm going to pick up soon. And I had already done a bazooka video, but I used my Tiger Force example, which I'll be showing again here real quick as part of this video. But I have a lot to go over, so I'm going to just keep it going with the next one that came out in the Tiger Force series. In the back, this was number 39 in the series, and this was Outback. And this is what a lot of people like to call Old Man Outback because he had white hair like the original Tiger Force Outback had it for the European version, which is what they based this off of. Really, really cool figure. And I have the other version of Outback, the classified line too. And so I'll definitely be doing an Outback video pretty soon, and I'll be able to compare both of those. But we'll be looking at the Tiger Force Outback a bit tonight. Now, the next Tiger Force figure to come out in the line was actually Duke, but I'm going to look at that last because it's a bigger box, and also it came with the Tiger Ram, which we'll be taking a look at too because it's my other Tiger Force vehicle that I have an example of. Now, the back of this is one of the newer boxes, so it showed the action figure. Now, he was number 65 in this series. Again, they have that on top. But the box art for these I know a lot of people don't like the windowless packaging, and I'm a kind of one of those too. You don't know anything about Old Man Outback, so yeah, cool. We're gonna share. I'll share it with you, and you can check him out with me. Now, this particular Dusty was based off the original, which I had like two at one time. I don't know where they got put. They could have been just made for parts, but I have my original Dusty, and it to me was so much better. However, the classified version of Dusty is a lot cooler, and I'm actually glad I managed to pick him up just last month, actually. And I also last month picked up the newest member of the Tiger Force in the classified line, which would be Flint, their leader. Now, Flint is number 89 in the classified line, and he was a Target exclusive, like all the Tiger Force figures were. The box art for this is really good too. I love the fact that it shows the newer ones here. It shows all the accessories, but they're going back to the window packaging. I'm actually happy with that too because they display so much better with the window packaging. This type of packaging with the open window, so you can see the figure. So you can just stick them on the wall and you can see the figure, and you got the box art. It looks really cool, just like these old carded figures, where you can just hang them on the wall, and it's awesome wall decoration. Yeah, I agree. Flint never looks so good. Yes, I'll be comparing this guy right here up with my Tiger Force Flint, so we'll be doing that in a little bit. Now, the last box that I have for Tiger Force is the Tiger Ram, Duke of the Ram. Now, this was number 40. You agree being able to see the figure is a big deal. I agree. I do. But I do love the box art for these. It's just really awesome box art. Now this, I don't know why they chose this for the cover. I mean, it was a nice bigger pick, but the really cool pick for this was on the side, and I really, really like this pick for Duke. It's one of my favorite Duke pictures that I've ever seen. I'm not a big Super Duke fan, but I do love the Tiger Force version of Duke in the classified line. I didn't like it so much in the original because I used my original for parts because I had an original Duke. But that was the same for my Flint. I love both my Tiger Force Flint and my original Flint. So I have those. So first up to look at the classified is going to be, I'm going to go the same order. I got Recondo. Now this Recondo is based off the one that came with the original Tiger Fly, the vehicle I showed you there, the remake of the Dragonfly. Now he came with the rifle, and then this really cool rifle that he had wrapped on the original. Looks very similar, not exact, but it still is a good representation of the original. The backpack looks a lot like the original too. He also comes with a machete. Now, I will be doing videos for each of these individually, so I'm going to be really going over these. Recondo is an Aussie, isn't he? They never portrayed him that way in the international line. I mean, he might have been, but in the original, I think he's like from Iowa or Wisconsin or something. We can actually take a look at that file card, and I can bring that up in a bit if you remind me. I might forget. That's Tiger Force Recondo. Now, they are coming out with a retro version for the classified line that looks really good, and I'm going to be wanting to pick that one up because I do have the first 4 of the retro Walmart exclusives, but the new ones aren't exclusives. They're going to be general release, which is really cool. Don't worry about it, man. I mean, the cool part about G.I. Joe is you can imagine the Joes to come from wherever you want. And I love the fact that they gave you a file card. The classified series does not. I don't know why. Now, the retro ones do, which is nice. But it's like an international file card. It doesn't show the birthplace or the rank or anything like that. Well, next up, we have Bazooka. Now, I'm going to compare them together. Now, see, like the newer one, the helmet looks better in this color than the original one did, which is why I wanted to leave the green one on so I can show you the contrast and the difference. But the backpacks were very similar. What I really love about this classified backpack, though, is that you can actually strap a peg right onto the bottom of it, and it's really cool. So I really, really dig G.I. Joe classified figures. Now, what was neat about this Bazooka, I'm going to pop this off of the backpack. Now, I'll give you a closer look at Bazooka. I mean, they had a really good face sculpt on this figure. And like I said, I have looked at him before, so I'm not going to do a lot of detail on him. But what I was missing when I did the original one was the part on the Bazooka that I had actually left it in the box when I made my video, so I didn't have it. So I'm going to show it off today. Let's see. Mostly what from comics. Bazooka looks great. Yeah, he did. I prefer the Tiger Force version. Now this little part right here on the Bazooka actually pivots. It actually comes right off, and sometimes it falls off really easy. So you gotta peg it in there really good, but then it just swivels, and you can actually take one of the missiles from the backpack. They actually all come off, and you can either slide it in the front like this and have it look like it's coming out, and it just slides right in and out of there. Or you can stick it in the back, make it look like you're firing it from over his shoulder, and then you can just slide the back part pivot right down over the top of it, so the missile's actually in there, and then it just kind of slides right back out. But like I said, that piece comes off really easy, and I don't have a Joe Takes where I don't drop something generally, so I'm glad it's that, because this is actually fairly easy to find on my floor, because my floor is kind of a tannish color and green. A lot of these little parts just disappear on my floor, but these really bright green ones do not. So I don't mind so much on that one. Let me put Bazooka aside here, and I'm going to put his Bazooka back on the backpack, and I'm going to set this over by Recondo, and then we're going to take a look at Old Man Outback. Now, I do love the original Outback a lot more, but that's neat. Yes, it is. I thought so. And yes, I try not to let my cat get him, but she is a climber. She's a tree cat. She is all over the place. It's hard to keep her out of anything. She gets up into the vents and the ceiling, and in my house, she's all over the place. But that's okay. I still love the little brat. Now, this particular version of Outback, now the original one has a white shirt, and when I do the Outback video, I'm going to compare them. But I love this one. I'm glad I got to show this one first. It came out first in the classified series anyway, and I love the tiger on his chest, and that is exactly how they had it come in the European version back in the vintage line. It never was released in the United States like this. Now, people had them, but it wasn't released that way. And all these come out. He's got the flashlight accessory there. Let me see if I can move his hand there. He's still got it just like the original, but the original pegged in. This is actually in a little. The straps go right over the leg, and you can pop it right in there, pop it right out. It's really cool. He's got a knife in his boot that comes out. His machine gun is awesome. It looks a lot like original. The magazine comes right out of there, pops right back in, and then he's got a sidearm. What Joe, I think all the Joes should actually have the sidearm. You said it looks super. I take it Tiger has seen these too. Oh yeah, yes she has, sir. Yeah. She calls them my little men, and she says, "I'm surrounded by little men all the time." That's her joke. Now, my heater just came on, and my ears popped. Kind of sucks, but that's just how it is. Now, that'll take us to the next one that came out, and I'm going to do these a little out of order on that, as far as that's concerned, because this was the next one that came out, the Tiger Force Ram. Really cool. I've shown this off several times because I really love this bike. I showed it off in the Duke video that I did. I actually did a video on this particular figure. Both of them, actually. I have the one that came out in the first 5 of the Classified series. Duke was one of those. And it's the same figure, just different colors. It's really cool. But this particular Ram cycle, this part right here pops off. And this actually comes out and is a big Gatling gun. And it actually spins around in here. And this is the gun that they had come with the heavy artillery roadblock, only in black. Really cool. And I also came with the other Ram, the original Ram. That came with Breaker in the Classified series. Now, what they did here was they made some improvements on the Duke. They had him come with a gun that looks a lot more like the original. Again, the magazine pops in and out. Now, I'm disappointed that the trenching tool or shovel, spade, whatever you call it, doesn't come out. Now, Outbacks comes off. So I don't know why they didn't. I know it was an earlier figure and they were just getting started, but I think they could have updated this like they did with the gun, but they didn't do that. He's got a sidearm, and he does not have a combat knife. And I was a little disappointed with that because I think soldiers, especially special forces, should have a sidearm, a machine gun, and a combat knife. But they didn't do that. That's Duke and the Ram. Now that takes us to Dusty. Now I've done a video on Dusty. My 8th Joe tank was on Dusty, so you might want to check that out. This particular Dusty, same figure as the original. I did not have this when I made my video, so this is the first time I'm showing off my Tiger Force Dusty. He came with the same backpack, but I like the color of this one better. She must love him. Wow, the bike looks terrific. Thanks. I think so too. Sidearm knife, etc. I agree all the way. Good. I'm glad you do. I'm just giving my opinion on the characters. I don't really. I'm not really reviewing the characters. I'm giving you my take on the way the figure looks, and then I go at the end of the video. I talk about the characters. In this case, I'll be just talking about Tiger Force in general. But when I do the individual Joe takes, like I will be again next week, I'll be taking a look at a single Joe next week. And so that'll be pretty cool because I'll be able to go into more detail on the character, which I really love to do. And so that's your Tiger Force Dusty. Now, I have to say, this was actually the last one I got because I had to, I went into Target and I actually found them because they're Target exclusives. Excuse me. Hello, Jay Pylon. Hello, how you doing? Thank you for the thumbs up and the welcome. Welcome, sir. We're all saying hello. That's cool. Just in time to see my Tiger Force Flint. Now, I do have the vintage example to compare. So, in this particular case, I can take a look at both of them. Now, I do love this original, and I do love this new Tiger Force. I'm really digging the black stripes that they painted on his face with face paint for battle. I think that's awesome. Now, originally, the classified Flint, which I didn't have the Tiger Force Flint when I did it in my Flint video. So this is his debut on my channel too. And he came with everything the original Flint did, which was the sidearm. And let me get a better look at that. And the shotgun. Now, he also came with Ricondo's gear, loadout. He came with the same rifle that Ricondo did. I think it's very cool too, Bert. And he also came with the same machete that you can't really see it there, so I'm going to pop this one out too. He's got other stuff. He's got like smoke grenades and stuff on him. That's really cool. Came with the same machete that Recondo did. So he had the Recondo's full loadout and his own full loadout with the shotgun. Now this shotgun is really cool. It slides in and out of the backpack. It's not really a backpack. It's kind of just a sheath that doesn't come off. Now, a lot of people have cut these off and done some customization, and it's really cool. This particular shotgun actually folds down like this, so you can make it, when you pose the figure, you can make it look like he's loaded the shotgun. And then you've got the detail paint on the shotgun shells right there on the rifle, on the shotgun. And it's got the pump action in green. It's the same shotgun, but they have different paint applications, and it's really cool. Big Flint, he is in my top 5 of Joe's, and one of my favorite characters, which is why I started my Joe takes with Flint. Now, that's all my figures. However, there's also something else I like to do. I like to talk about how they were in media. There was only commercials that they did for the Tiger Force. Let me see. They both carry old Kirk Chris. All right, yes, sir. So they can chop some jungle away with them. Now, the only other thing that commercials that they did was a issue of Special Missions. Now, this was written by, I'm pretty sure, Larry Hallman. I'm gonna take this out and take a better look at it. It's in the plastic. The glare really comes down on it. And I like to do everything G.I. Joe, figures, comics, when I do my Joe takes. And this particular cover is pretty cool. It's got the big pterodon on there. And the Special Missions here, it's written by Larry Hallman, and art is by Herb Trimpe. And this issue is called Force Play. And as you can see on the bottom here, they've got a tiger, a paw, which is a Cobra ferret redone as a Tiger Force vehicle. They got a Tiger Vamp and a Tiger Cat, which is just a Tiger Vamp is just a Vamp Mark II redone, and the Tiger Cat is a Snow Cat redone, and they actually have those right there in the comic. This was an interesting story. It's been a long time since I read it, but they basically were undercover for the CIA, and they went in to back them up, and they were actually supposed to play the fall guy, but Duke wasn't having it, of course. And they actually had several other characters in here that were not Tiger Force that were participating in the operation, which was really cool because you got Alpine right here, undercover with Jinx. And Jinx later on and Alpine both became members of Tiger Force. Now, if you checked out that video at the beginning, or you can go back and you can watch, I have it separate, Joe Takes 35. You can check out all the file cards for all the Tiger Force that I could find and compile, which is quite big, and that's why that video is so long. Tiger Force is just way big. And I like they got this really cool picture of Lifeline there. Yeah, you would think that Lifeline's a pacifist, and he is. But he also is a black belt Aikido in the comics and knows how to defend himself. It's good for Duke. He always stands up for what's right. Yes, yeah, I agree. That's what I like about Duke. There's a lot of things I do like about Duke, but my favorite Joe leader is Flint. Duke is cool too, but the way I see it is Flint is the officer and Duke is the platoon sergeant or first sergeant, however you want to you define it. He's the senior NCO and Duke is the officer in charge, their captain basically. Now I know in the movies and stuff they made Duke the captain, but originally he was intended to be their first sergeant, and I don't know why they would want to change that fundamental fact about Duke. That's what that was part of what made him so cool, was he was G.I. Joe's first sergeant. Now they even had Ripcord in here, undercover with Alpine. It was pretty cool, Alpine and Jinx. And I just like the fact that they included the Tiger Force in one issue. Now they may have done some issues later for companies, but in Marvel, I'm pretty sure that Special Missions number 25 is the only edition that has of the Marvel run that had Tiger Force in it. Flint's terrific, practical, solid head on shoulders. I never saw the movies. The movies aren't bad. Now, a lot of people give them a bad rap, but you just got to go into them realizing that they're not going to follow the comic or the cartoon, or they're their own story, basically their own version of the Joe-verse. And so going into that with that attitude, they're fun movies to watch. That's just my opinion. So, if you ever get the opportunity, go and watch it. I don't even mind the Snake Eyes movie. It's not Snake Eyes, but it's a different version of Snake Eyes. And it is a decent movie, but I consider it kind of a Storm Shadow movie. But like I said, they go through. They have some of the vehicles in the Tiger Force style, and have them in the Tiger Force. Some of the Joes in the Tiger Force uniforms, like Dusty there. Now, I don't think Duke was in his Tiger Force uniform. I think he was in his regular uniform, but that's Duke for you, He's going to do what he's going to do. A gung-ho, take charge kind of guy. No pun intended for poor gung-ho here, who I have an opinion on why gung-ho was never included with the Tiger Force, but we'll talk about that after we finish going over the comic here a little bit. But I'm just kind of skimming through it, showing you bits and pieces here. There is one line I definitely wanted to share with you. They were actually in a museum, and they actually accidentally shot down the pterodon, and that's why it was on the cover. There was no real dinosaurs in here. It was a stuffed dinosaur. Let's see here. Okay, I appreciate you sharing take on the movies. It helps knowing it's not the comics, but an alternate universe. Yes. The cartoon and the comics. Now, when it transferred over to Image Comics, they kind of conglomerated everything together as far as the cartoon and the movies. But Larry Hama never did that. When he started writing the comics again at first he did a few for Image, and then he did Devil's Due, and then he did a few on I don't know if he did Devil's Due or not, which was America's Elite, which was a good comic series, but it wasn't Larry Hama, it wasn't the original storyline. But then it was IDW, and he started again right over on issue 156. The Marvel series ended on 155, and he went right to 300 with IDW. And now it's back to Image, and they've started on 301. I need to pick those up, but Larry Hama is still writing it, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, but like I said, there was a scene in here where this yes man from the CIA was trying to frame them for everything that was going wrong, and Duke got all mad at him and said, "Hart, is that the mating call, the yellow-bellied blame shifter I hear?" It was just a cool Duke line, and if I can find it in here, I'll show you. But it might have been earlier on. I could have just missed it. Duke is quite the character, and he was really cool in this as the Tiger Force first sergeant. So it's pretty cool. So that's the comic book version of Tiger Force. And it was decent. It was written by Larry Hama, so it had all the flair and everything of a G.I. Joe Marvel comic, which all the newer ones for IDW still do. I'm going to just slide this right back in here where it belongs. And I have every special mission that they had out. Let's put that back in there. And I went over that in the video when I did a video called G.I. Joe and Me, and I did two of those. One with the Marvel and then some with the newer ones. So of what I have. So yeah, I take a better look at that. Now, that takes us to just my opinion on Tiger Force in general. Tiger Force was kind of based loosely off a team that had a bad rap in Vietnam. Now, other commentators have given their opinion and stuff on that, and I don't see G.I. Joe as really based off that. It was just what they called the sub team. Let me see. Larry Hama, I believe most of my G.I. Joe time is under his pen. He's an absolutely fantastic writer. I couldn't agree more. He's one of my as an author myself, he's one of my heroes as an author, and I get involved in any story he writes generally. He wrote Wolverine for a long time. I really enjoyed that. So Larry Hama, yes, he's a great writer. So as far as my opinion of Tiger Force, they serve their purpose. Tiger Force is basically G.I. Joe's special forces unit in a special forces unit. That's kind of how I see that. And it's kind of like a badge of honor to have served on Tiger Force or Night Force, and I'm not really sure. There was a team in Vietnam that was involved in a scandal, and it was pretty bad. But most people don't associate the G.I. Joe Tiger Force with that, but it's something worth looking up. It's historical. Little Cobra Commander 788, who I have a link to in the description, did a video on that. Probably not easy to find. I mean, he has a pretty big channel. He's been around for about 10 years and has a lot of videos, a lot more than I do. So it's not the G.I. Joe the G.I. Joe Tiger Force that has a bad rap. It's what the connotations of what the original Tiger Force in real life had. So take it as you will. I take it with a grain of salt, and just like my G.I. Joe, my G.I. Joe Tiger Force, I really enjoy the fact that later on they had so many other characters join. Stalker became a member of Tiger Force. My favorite character, Airtight. And like I said in that video at the beginning, and Joe Takes 35, I have a ton of file cards in there for you to check out. And pretty much everything I could find is in there as far as file cards that became Tiger Force, G.I. Joe members. Now, my theory on Gung Ho, why he wasn't in there, is I'm pretty sure that all the Tiger Force members were either Airborne Rangers, Army, or Army in general. And Gung Ho is a Marine. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it seems like a really odd coincidence that Leatherneck was never a Tiger Force. It either was Mainframe or Sergeant Slaughter, and I'm pretty sure those are some of the only Marines in G.I. Joe. But I don't think any of the Marines served in Tiger Force or any of the Navy. So I could be wrong on that. Shipwreck is a different case because he was in Tiger Force. But it depends on your version of the story or how Shipwreck joined G.I. Joe. He was Navy, but Shipwreck's just a dynamic character, and I gave my take on him a while back too. Let me see. You might know the unit. G.I. Joe having an elite unit like Tiger Force is pretty cool. I agree too. Night Force is a neat team too. I don't really have any Night Force, at least not in the vintage line. I do have 3 or 4, I think, that came out in like the 25th anniversary or modern line of 4-inch figures. So that so at some point I might take a look at them if I start getting some classified versions of Night Force. That's kind of my thing. If I get the classified figure, I'll give you my Joe take on it. So that's my take on Tiger Force. Now I'm trying to change things up and make things as professional as I can for the new year. You see, first says I don't know if Gung Ho was Marine Force Recon. If one has to be Special Forces to join Tiger Force, that would keep him out if he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he was Marine Force Recon. But I think it's the fact that they're Army. I'm not really sure. And Night Force is a whole other animal that I haven't really got into. I'll be checking that out at some point in the future. Jay says, these sound cool. I'm glad you like them. Man, yes, sir. Now, I'm going to do something, like I said, I'm going to do something a little different on this Joe tape because I'm pretty much done with giving my take on Tiger Force, and I hope you enjoyed it. But I'm also going to start including the promo for next week's Joe Takes. So check that out and know what's coming up next Saturday on Joe Takes 36. And with that all being said, Logan out, and I hope you enjoy Spirit Iron Knife Freedom.
All right, Spirit. Looks like you're good to go. Well, all right, Spirit. Looks like you're good to go.
Greetings. I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer, and tonight on Joe Takes 36, we're talking about spirit and freedom from the hilt. Now, as the video showed you, I have a lot of images and stuff of spirit and freedom, and I hope to show you some pretty cool stuff tonight. And like normal, I'm going to start by taking a look at the vintage figure. Kiwi says, welcome, Kiwi. Saying, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be doing a Slaughter's Marauders custom pretty soon, bro. Ironically enough, the only Slaughter's Marauders vintage figure I have is Spirit, and we'll be taking a look at that one too. So I got three vintage, well, two vintage, and a couple other figures to look at. Now, we'll start with Spirit Iron Knife, and we'll put him up here so you can get a better look at him. This is the original one. Now, these are not the original accessories. The original accessories for Spirit were green, but I traded this figure just like it was, except for I had the loincloth too, but that got mauled by a dog when I was about 16, so that's gone. What I liked about this figure was along the leg, I don't know if you can really see it very well, but there's like these frayed edges on these pants. They're very typical, like almost feather-like, very typical cowboy style pants. He has a knife there on the leg. Now this backpack, I'm going to take this off so I can show you a little bit better. Has this set of arrows that he can actually shoot out of the gun. Well, I'm glad you like it there, Kiwi. Now, Spirit was one of the first figures to have like this different style of hair that they do. But this rack of or magazine of arrows that he could fire out of his gun are the exact same size as the ones on the backpack. So it's pretty cool. And you can actually, if you had a little bit of putty, you could probably stick that to the backpack and make it stick. I wish they put a clip there. That would have been awesome. But, you know, it was just, G.I. Joe was just starting back then. Now, what I was talking about with the hair is this is kind of a rubbery really soft plastic, and then with the headband and the ponytails. This was one of the most unique figures in the third year of G.I. Joe that they had come out with. I do like the knife on the chest there. Now, what I did want to mention was the chevrons, the Civil War style chevrons. They're upside down, and he has 3 stripes, which would make him a sergeant. His file card always said he was a corporal or E4, maybe a specialist. However, the stripes tell another story, so I always portrayed Spirit as a sergeant. I'll get him over here out of the way, and then we'll take a look at my Slaughter's Marauder Spirit. Now, basically the same figure, only I have all the accessories except for some reason I lost the backpack on this one, but he does have the loincloth belt, and I really bought this figure to get Freedom and the loincloth belt, and for the longest time I had the belt on the original Spirit, and it looks pretty good, but I definitely wanted to display it on top of, I mean, all the figure it belongs to, and so I actually keep it that way when I store my figures, is with the original figure. Now, this Freedom actually looked really super nice, and I managed to keep his talons intact all these years. And my the original one I had, I don't even know what happened to it, to be honest. I lost it. Now, this is the gun that came with Spirit, but like I said, I didn't have the backpack. And it's pretty, like I said, pretty much the same figure except for the coloration. I do like the paint and color, excuse me, color on this particular figure. Now, for some reason, these pants are different. It doesn't have the little frayed edges. There's a pocket on here. So they gave him a different leg than the original. Now, I had never noticed that until just now. And looking at it with you. Now, in 2006, well, they came out with another Spirit in the Vengeance line, and that was the one with the hang glider. But I was never able to pick that one up. And as you saw in the video with the file cards, that Spirit actually was rank E6. And he was, this one was rank E6 too. This one came out in 2006. It's a really decent figure, and it came with this comic in a 3-pack with Cover Girl and Hannibal, which was a Serpentor clone. It was pretty cool. Let's see what you got here. You said you need to make a repair on Freedom's claws. Yeah, that would be actually a very useful video. I'm telling you right now, because the same would hold true for Polly and probably Raptor as well. His Falcon. So this particular Spirit though has these like this very really cool bone necklace, a black suit for Spirit. I just thought that was a good idea. He came with a knife, and I have it, but it's mixed in with my other knives, and I didn't take the time to break it out. I've just had a really weird week. You know, it's just one of those weeks where it seemed like right at the last minute I was even making the second video I'm going to show at the end of this for next week's Joe Takes right down to the wire tonight, and I'm not 100% happy with it, but it is what it is. But we'll get to that. Now, I wanted to show off this modern version of Spirit. I thought it was pretty cool. He came with 2 knives, and one of them was this really cool bone knife, but I lost it in the last move I did when I came from California up to Utah, and I have no idea what happened to it. Now, this knife actually comes out, this particular one. I'm not going to pull it out, but this particular Freedom, compared to the original, I'll put them side by side here so you can take a look at the wingspan on both of these. Very, very, very cool, but they're very different looking eagles. This one is brown. This one's black. The original was brown too. But this one I really wanted to show tonight because of the unique way they did the talons on this, and this might actually give you an idea for how to fix the originals. Hey, Renee, how you doing? Welcome. Just talking G.I. Joe stuff tonight. Glad to see you here. Now, what I did like about this modern Spirit that came with the 25th anniversary line was his rifle. It is the remake of the arrow shooter. which that's why I had this out over here so I could just pop them up so you can take a look at them side by side, the original and the 25th anniversary version. They look very similar, not exact, but very similar. So it was a good representation of the original. Saw you were live and decided to stop over. Well, you're welcome. And guys are saying hi to each other. That's cool. Now, like I said, what was cool about this is the magazine for this actually pops out. And the backpack on this particular Spirit, pop it off. These actually come out. I've got a rubber band in there so they don't fall out. They generally don't. They snap in there pretty good. And this backpack actually comes off of this this frame, and it has a little handle on it. I'm not going to mess with it. Like, once you loosen up plastic, it has a hard time staying. Definitely hi, everyone. Kiwi, I agree. Like I said, but these are all interchangeable. These Arrow magazine clips, Arrow magazines, I should say. I thought this was a very decent representation, except for the head sculpt. However, the head sculpt actually wasn't bad for representation of a Native American. Probably more so than the original. So you just got to be the judge yourself. I like both figures. I'm happy I have the vintage, and I'm happy I have the Slaughter's Marauders one. All the Spirit figures I have are really good, and I'm happy to have it. I do have another one that came out in 2011 with the Pursuit of Cobra line, but that one kind of reminded me of Billy from the 1986 Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, that takes us to the classified box, and at the standard back, this was a standard release figure, so it had the regular box back. Now, this particular picture of Spirit is actually the best one in the classified line. Let's see if I can get that to focus better. The Sky Commando Spirit, I never had that, so I really can't speak to it. I do want to pick it up at some point. I think I saw it in the store once, and it's a decent looking figure. I don't have an issue with it. It wasn't that I didn't want it; it's just I didn't have the money at the time, and naturally, when I went back, it was gone. Now, this is Joe Takes 36, and he was 36 in the series. I don't often line them up like that, but this one just happened to do so, and next week will also. It's kind of cool. Now, the box art on the front, of course, you had 36 on the top too. These the original style box art. Now, this particular box art, I like this one better than the one that's on the side, but I wasn't really I'm not a real big fan of this particular box art. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I did like the fact that they had a sergeant chevron on as part of the box art. You got a better look right there. You can see it crossing over into both pieces of art, that I did like. So there were some things that I did like the smaller version of Spirit down here that looked pretty good. And Freedom. I don't know. I know they were going for a style of art here, like a totem pole or something, but I don't know. It didn't scream G.I. Joe to me, and for some reason they didn't have Freedom on this in the side art, and I was like, okay, not bad, but not one of my favorites. So that takes us to the actual figure. Now I'm gonna set the backpack and Freedom aside here for a minute because we're gonna take a better look at Freedom. Now I had him posed. This is one of the few figures I've actually been able to line the scope up with the eyeball. I thought that was a nice touch. You could do that. He comes with a sidearm, which I like. And all the classified stuff is generally removable. I don't think I found any that isn't. None of it's sculpted on like the original. It naturally has come off the battle stand. And it comes with a knife there, and then he has that bow knife I was talking about on the 25th anniversary one. But I think the black paint. I wish they'd painted that painted it to white, and it has like a little goat head. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that it looks pretty cool. And I in the video I had him pose like he was about ready to pull this knife out. The blade looked really cool on that. And again, they did the soft plastic ponytails and the headband, and the hair and the head sculpt on this dude is awesome. The figure is way better than the box art. That's not always the case, but in this particular instance, it is. Now, he also has chevrons on his shoulder, and that makes him a sergeant again, 3 stripes. So down the line, he was promoted to a staff sergeant and was E6, but they held true as well as they could to the original. They got rid of the loincloth belt. I can live without it, but it would have been a nice touch to have that too. Now, the belt they did give him was this double belt here that actually is attached to the straps that he's wearing for his knife holster, his knife sheath, I should say, not holster. That's a holster. That's a sheath. Let's get it right. This sniper rifle, and who better to hold it than Spirit himself, if I can get it up there so you can take a proper look at it, is a pretty badass sniper rifle. Now, he didn't come with the arrow shooter again. I thought maybe they probably thought it was a little insensitive to a Native American to give him an arrow shooter. And, they could be right, but whatever. It is what it is. Again, though, they had the backpack very similar to the original. And I'll hold them up there with these little things at the top. But in this case, that looks like communication gear, maybe. I don't know if you can see that really well, but there it is. Well, what I did like was this little perch for freedom, and you saw how he was on there. Also, it has a post for the sniper rifle, so all his gear fits right on the figure. And like I said, you could pose freedom. You can just peg him right in there, and then put him right on Spirit's back. And he does have one of those Joe Pros, and I don't know, people have a problem with that. I don't. And so Freedom looks pretty good, perched up there. There is on Spirit's left arm, there's a couple of peg slots, which I thought was really cool, so that you could have Freedom also land on his arm. And if I get it pegged in there properly, instead of trying to rush it. Freedom is a really cool little figure. And as you saw, his head is on a ball joint, so it is posable. Does come off fairly easily, so you might want to be careful with it. Like I said, it just rests right there on his arm pretty well, and doesn't fall off. You have to push it in there really good, but push it real good. Now, the coolest part about this Freedom is you have the folded wings down like this. Now, the original Freedom had his wings outspread, and so did the modern version on the 25th anniversary line. So what they did something really clever and really cool for Freedom. They had his wings on a little ball joint that you could just pop right out. And there he is without his wings. And they gave him a second set of wings that you could just pop right in the same slots on the same ball joints. And then you have Freedom flying outstretched. And yes, his legs do move. They are articulated. And the feet actually rotate all the way around if you wanted to. So I thought that was a nice touch for just a simple little accessory. And they didn't call this a deluxe figure or anything. They just put it out, Freedom, as one of Spirit's regular accessories. So it was really cool. I thought so too, Kiwi. I really did. And I do. I mean, I love this particular Freedom as opposed to, they did a good job on updating it, and they made this one. And the newest one actually is kind of a cross between the coloration on the original two. I can keep a hold of them. As you can see, it's kind of a somewhere in between. It's still a brown color, but it's really dark. And this looks like a bald eagle. Now, it's not that these ones don't look like a bald eagle. This one just looks more like a bald eagle. Okay, so being on a ball joint, the wings are completely posable. So you can have them up like this. You can move one forward as he's diving, you know. Very, very cool version of Freedom. And I just think they outdid themselves with this particular accessory. I mean, I've been talking more about the accessory than Spirit himself, which is an awesome figure. So together, they gave you a dynamic duo. Very nice. Very cool. So Spirit is definitely one of the classified figures who's definitely worth getting. So that takes us to his appearances in comics and the cartoon. And in the Sunbow cartoon, he was first appeared in Revenge of Cobra, where him and Storm Shadow had their famous duel and got shot out of the blowhole, and in that they got trapped in that volcanic cave. And then Spirit gave him the device and then went and took it back. Really cool storyline with Spirit and Storm Shadow throughout the cartoon. Tonight I watched Captives of Cobra, the two-parter, where Spirit's grandfather and cousin, who called him uncle. It's kind of weird, but that's just how they portrayed it. So in that, Cobra took the families of 6 different Joes and were brainwashing them and using them to stop the Joes from getting these crystals that the Joes had found that Cobra had botched in a lab. It was a really good 2-part episode. Hey, Coco B, how you doing? Classified as a very nice figure. I agree. Arguably your favorite, Joe? Oh yeah, that's cool. I would not fault anybody for saying this is their favorite classified G.I. Joe. It's one of the best that they've done. I totally agree with that statement. So I'll get back to the cartoon a little bit. The 2-part Captives of Cobra was really, like I said, a really good episode. Heart-wrenching and heart-warming at the same time. Very well done for a 80s cartoon made for kids. Let's see, Kiwi says, I love that in the comics, but Spirit are good friends. They are the best of friends. And I actually am going to have a video coming out Sunday morning. I don't normally do videos on Sunday, but it's going to premiere on Spine Ticks tomorrow night with Mutt and Spirit. And I've got a new camera that I'm not really liking, so some of the photos aren't the best. But it came out okay. And so I sent that to, well, that's not why I sent it to Spine Ticks. I was going to send it to him no matter what. And I also sent him a new Joe Ticks. So look forward to that tomorrow night on Spine Ticks, or tonight, as it were, seeing how it's technically Saturday. After that, I watched Excalibur, another one of my favorite G.I. Joe episodes from the Sunbow cartoon. In that, Spirit and Quick Kick went after a Footloose, who had been captured by Storm Shadow. Again, Storm Shadow was in it, but this time, Storm Shadow and Spirit didn't actually have a fight. It was Quick Kick in Spirit. And one of my favorite Spirit lines is when he healed Quick Kick's leg. And Quick Kick called it a miracle. And in Spirit's mind, you heard it. They actually, I think that's the first time they did thoughts in the G.I. Joe cartoon. And you can hear Spirit's thoughts. And he said, maybe next time I'll fix his brain. I thought that was classic. And I don't know why they included that, but it was very cool. Quick Kick was a cool character too, but I thought it was funny. Well, Coco B says, howdy and cool shirt, bro. Hey, yeah, I just got this today and I wore it during my Fridays. And this is Bear the Gen X GM's game Bastard Sword that he's actually turned over to somebody else. So these shirts weren't going to be available anymore. So I made sure I picked one up. So I was happy to have it. And I figured I might as well wear it tonight while I do these 2 videos. It's a lot of fun. The other cartoon that Spirit was in was actually the Deke series, but the first mini series, Operation Dragonfire, which was really good. But Spirit had a very limited part, and that's when he was in his Marauders outfit. So it was kind of cool, and I've shown that on quite a few videos. I have a copy of the DVD. Now I couldn't find a lot of covers that had Spirit on it, and it just happened to be on the cover of the one where it came with the 3-pack of action figures with the comic 3-pack. And this is a really cool cover. Now, they were going after Serpentor clones of this, him and CoverGirl. And the other figure that came with this was a Serpentor clone called Hannibal, who was also going after all the Serpentor clones. Now, it's just what's on the back of it. It came with the Valor versus Venom video. I really couldn't find a lot of comic book covers with Spirit. He was in the comics a lot, starting in issue 31, where him and Airborne were out trying to protect Snake Eyes, while Firefly, Destro, and a Crimson Guardsman came to kill Snake Eyes. A very good issue of the comic series. Now, I did find one, and these are some of my newer comics and not my old Marvel run. So otherwise, I'd take out that issue 31 and show you. It's a really good cover with Destro, but I've shown that off. I found one other comic book cover that I have with Spirit, and he's up here on the top of the Rolling Thunder, firing a bow of all things, but really cool. Let me see if I can get that up there a little closer so you can see. Very cool cover. Falcon, Alpine. There you got, looks like Tunnel Rat, Psych Out. It looks like Repeater back there on the back, and Mainframe and Lady J down there in the front. I don't know why they're out in front of a moving vehicle, but great cover. Nice that they actually included Spirit on a cover, and I really had to look for it. It's funny because I also had to look for all my figures today. I normally have them all separated by year and everything, and both of my vintage figures were in the wrong bags. I don't know why. It was just weird. It took me a good half hour to 45 minutes to locate them. It was really strange tonight. I was having a really hard time getting everything ready for this video, but I did it. So as far as the rest of the comic series, Spirit doesn't have a lot of appearances, but yes, him and Mutt had a lot of appearances together. Hello, Superior Cyber Godzilla. How you doing? Missed you tonight during the Fridays. We were talking about Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. That was cool. Next week we'll be talking about Godzilla, so you might want to check us out then. But today I'm finishing up talking about Spirit here, Spirit, Iron Knife, and Freedom. Now there was a really cool storyline with Spirit and Mutt where they were on leave, and Spirit and Mutt went to Mutt's hometown to visit Mutt's uncle. And it just so happened that Cobra was taking over the town at the time. Typical, G.I. Joe kind of storyline. And they ended up at the end of that, after having given Cobra a bad time, they ended up getting arrested. And it took several issues for them to get the Spirited Mutt out of jail. It was weird, but it was sort of realistic, but also not at the same time. But interesting storyline. And other than that, off the top of my head, Spirit and Mutt were together a lot, but not all the time. I think Mutt got more panel time in the comics. There were a few issues where Spirit was actually at the pit, guarding the entrance to the pit, which was basically a trap door with a rug over it. He'd sit on it, and there was a scene where they came out of it and they actually threw him off in it. Gung Ho's all sorry, Spirit. It was pretty. It was interesting, So. Yeah, Spirit is, to me, he's one of the most important, what's the best word I can come up with? Inclusive characters. I don't really like that term generally. I'm glad that they included not one, but 2 Native Americans on the G.I. Joe team right back from the beginning. Airborne was in the 2nd year and Spirit was in the 3rd year. And they did a very good job with both characters. They're both completely different. Airborne is not into Native American stuff, but yet he is Native American. And Spirit is way into Native American stuff. So it was a nice contrast, especially in the first appearance of Spirit, to have him team up with Airborne. And show the difference between the two characters in the comic book in issue G.I. Joe 31. Very good comic. What more can I say about Spirit? In my Joe verse, as it were, my head canon, he's on one of the fire teams, Fire Team Bravo, under the command of Beachhead, and that's kind of where I see him. His squad leader is Roadblock, so that's just kind of where I put things in my headspace, in my head canon. And I do team him up with Mutt whenever possible. When I play it as a kid and even as an adult, I'll fully admit it. I played with my GI Joes for a long time. I love to make the stories up. I wouldn't even mind writing some GI Joe comics or even GI Joe novels. That would be pretty cool. But I have a lot of other stuff going on, and I would have to, that'd be something that I'd have to, have the rights and permission to do. It's not exclusively or anything. I don't think GI Joe should be exclusive to any one company or writer, but I understand why Hasbro has done that, and they have switched over to Image again. And I've read issue 301 and 302. 301 was pretty good. 302 was I'm not very happy with it. The whole zombie thing was interesting, and then so we'll see where they take it in issue 303. Spirit was not in that, not that I recall anyway. Trying to think of any other appearances Spirit had. He was in 20 Questions in the Sunbow cartoon. Him and Freedom, and the pretty good stuff. But the coolest one was Excalibur, I think. And the coolest scene with Freedom is when he took Excalibur from Storm Shadow and flew the sword back and gave it to the Lady of the Lake. It was a nice way to end that episode. And I think that's a nice way to end my Joe take on Spirit and Freedom. I'll bring these two up one more time for you to take a look at. Spirit and Freedom. Really cool G.I. Joes. I'm glad I have them in my collection. I'm glad I have some of the vintage figures and some of the modern figures. Let's see what Kiwi's got to say here. I do exactly the same thing. I always try to pair Mutt and Spirit together, and I understand about the headspace thing too, bro. Well, Joe fans, man, we love our G.I. Joe, and so I'm going to end this with our next week's Joe Takes promo, Joe Takes 37, which is going to be Cobra Officer. So I hope you enjoyed my take on Spirit and Freedom. And with that all being said, Logan out. Greetings. I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer, and for this edition of Midnight Madness on Joe Takes 37, we're going to be talking about Cobra Officer from the Hilt. Now, a lot of people consider Cobra Officer a troop builder, and he is. But me personally, I see Cobra Officer as an individual, several individuals, but individuals nonetheless. Greetings, DL, National Parks Princess. How you doing? It's nice to see you. Welcome. Talking about one of my favorite Cobra characters tonight, Cobra Officer. Now, Cobra Commander is my favorite, then Zartan, and it's a kind of a toss-up with me with Baroness and Zartan after Cobra Commander. Then we got this guy here, Cobra Officer. Now, I have a couple of vintage examples to show you. One is actually the Stinger driver, but he is the best version and vintage version. That's cool. That's cool, DL. You can participate if you like, or just listen. That's cool. Either way, glad to have you here. Thank you. But anyway, we have the what I like to call a gray Cobra Officer or Stinger driver. Now, I've made several repairs on this figure over the years, and for some reason, he was really hard to get open. So there's still a gap right here on his shoulder. I don't know if you can really see that very well, but I really enjoyed the original Cobra Officer. Now, I had one, but over the years, broke thumbs, broke the crotch, broke the legs, actually. And so I decided to, since I had broken the head of my original hooded Cobra Commander, I took his body and put the Cobra Officer's head on it, because he was kind of my number 2 Cobra all the time. And originally he was actually my HISS driver. Then I found my Cobra Officer, and I switched back to him. Now, this also has arms from a 1994 Cobra Officer and legs and crotch. So I've really customized this particular figure. But I like the gun charging post at the back for Cobra Commander's original gun, and it works out really good for this character. Sometimes it stays in there really good, and other times it doesn't, but it goes right there in the back. And that's a charging port, little backpack that the original Cobra Commander wore, and the hooded Cobra Commander. Let's see. I was the neighborhood kid in the toy store. A lot of times, yeah, I was. I loved going to Toys R Us and Target. And before that, I went to a store called Gemco that Target bought out in California. That was a pretty cool place to be. Now, I do have some of the old Cobra Troopers, and but not in the vintage form.
I have newer versions of that, but I just wanted to kind of focus on Cobra Officer tonight. Now, I do have a carded example from the 25th anniversary of Cobra Officer, and there's the file card. Let me see if I can get up there. See if it really wants to take a look. Now, this file card was in the video at the beginning, so also that video is up separate on my channel, so you could check it out. Now, when they did the Python Patrol, they did something really weird. They took the Cobra Officer and made him the Python Trooper, and they took the Cobra Trooper and made him the Python Officer. So I do have a carded example of the Python Officer. Now, that'll take us over to the classified series, and I'm gonna check out the Python Officer that they did, because in my opinion, they actually fixed it. Got a few things I want to look at here, but the Python Officer that came out second in the classified series compared to the Cobra Officer, he's number 56 in the series, the classified series. This is the same box art for the original Cobra Officer, only with the Python Patrol colors. And this particular figure is pretty cool. It had the Python Patrol Cobra Island background on the back, the same as all the original Python Patrol figures had. Now, what they did was they took that original Python Officer, and instead of, see, they had brought it back in as Python Patrol, as this not being the Python Trooper, but the Python Patrol Officer. Now, to me, they fixed it. Now, a lot of people got mad because it wasn't the way the original was, so they went back to this, calling this guy the Python Patrol Cobra Officer, or the Python Patrol Officer. Now, very cool figure. I do like the box art for it. He's number 97 in the series. Now, they don't have the 97 on the top. They do have it on the back, and I do have all these figures, and we'll be taking a look at them here. But then I'm really focusing on this guy here. This is Joe Takes 37, and I managed to match him up. I did the same thing with Spirit last week. I don't often get to do that. This is Joe Takes 37, and we're looking at figure 37. Now, the other two I'm having as examples of what they have done and will do with the Python Patrol series. But like I said, this side art and the box art is virtually identical, just with the Python Patrol colors. And I like both. Can't say which one I prefer. Now, I always imagine my Cobra Officer as a African American, a scorned soldier from the U.S. government who had a lot of problems, who joined Cobra because basically the U.S. government let him down, and that had actually happened to a lot of vets in our country, and it's sad but true. So I'm going to take a look at this newest edition, the new Python Patrol Officer, Cobra Officer. Now, I like the original colors, and they did a good job of matching it up to the original Python Patrol figure. So if we take a look here, as you can see, they like I said, they did a pretty good job of matching it up, almost identical, except for the knee pads, which these match the Python Patrol Trooper, which was actually a Cobra Officer figure. Now, as you can see on this example of a Cobra Officer, he has the knee pads, which is kind of cool. I'm going to slide these guys over, and I'm going to show you a better look. Now, he's got the Cobra Officer loadout. He's got all the Cobra Officer gear, but he has these goggles from the Cobra Trooper, and he has the Cobra Trooper helmet. Now, they had a Cobra Trooper that was a Cobra Island exclusive figure for Target, and then they brought out the Cobra Infantry Trooper, and the Infantry Trooper did not come with the goggles or this Cobra Officer's badge. So it was kind of a unique figure that you could turn into a Cobra Officer, and so I'm kind of glad they kind of went with this loadout for that particular figure, because this figure is actually
very different. I mean, it is based off the Cobra Officer figure. Can't have a Joe Takes without me dropping something naturally. But as you can see, these are actually very similar but different figures. This particular one does not have the knee pads painted. He does have knee pads, and he has the same legs and pretty much the same body, but the hands are completely different. And as you can see, the helmets are completely different. And what I liked about this particular individual is you can probably get a better look at him. This one actually has an African American represented as the Python Cobra officer. So you can actually swap out these heads and make the original Cobra officer just like I always played him. Because here's the original for the classified series, number 37 in the series. Now, I love the fact that he comes with the AK-47 like the original Cobra officer did. And this AK-47 right here has the magazine that comes in and out really easy. Plus, it has a spot on it where you can actually put a sight. And this one actually has it already on there. And there is a pocket on the back. Let me see if I can get that up there. But there's like this little piece that goes on and off right there. That's actually a sight. Oh, yeah, you can see it a lot better right there. It's right there. And this actually comes off. But there is a spot on his backpack for an extra magazine and that scope that's on there, that laser sight scope. And I think that's pretty cool. They all come with the knife on the side, which is neat. And then they all came with this hand cannon with a special holster in the back, and I like that special holster. But I've got the hand cannon in his hand over here, this particular version, and I dig this hand cannon. I wish it would have had also come with a suppressor, but if you have a suppressor from another figure, you can actually slide it on there. I have one over here on my steel core trooper, so I'm going to slide that on there and just pop the silencer right on the end of that. And then that makes it look like a totally different weapon almost, but it does make it look pretty cool. And I love that about the classified series. A lot of these little parts are interchangeable on the guns, and they've actually come up with the Vipers set that I have, and now the Steel Core set, where they have all these blast effects that are really cool. And I've showed off several of those in a lot of my videos, but that is my classified Cobra officer. This is the man as far as I'm concerned. He's a really, really cool figure. And what I'm going to do is, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to pop off this head and pop on. They're just really interchangeable, easy to pop out and swap around. I'm going to take this particular head from the other Python officer off of here, and I am going to. Well, that's a new one on me. There's a second section that can pop off. I didn't know that I could do that. That's interesting. So I'm going to put that back on there. Maybe it's not such a good idea. There we go. Popped it right back on. So it goes right back on pretty easy. But it looks like it's set up to pop that piece off and not the other one at the top. It's kind of cool that they're on two ball joints. You learn something every day, so it's a lot of fun to explore these figures and check them out. But the one I really wanted to compare was these two figures. I'm going to pop his original head back on. I was going to swap them out and see how it looked the other way, but it didn't work out tonight. So, but these two figures, as you can see, are the same figure other than the helmet. I mean, it's everything right down to the knee pads and the gear loadout and the Cobra Officer arm badge on both of these figures. The only thing different is the helmet and the goggles that came with this new Python Patrol Cobra Officer. So that's the figures. As far as the comics and media in the animated series, Cobra officer was in quite a few episodes as various different Cobra officers, and most of them would always be right next to Cobra Commander, which is probably why in my head canon, my Joe-verse, that I would make Cobra officer his right hand man and second in command, because he always had a Cobra officer seemingly right there near him in the cartoon. Now in the comics, not so much. The writer of the comics, Larry Hama, he really just kind of had all the troopers and Vipers. He had them all the same, really. They had their different little various ranks and whatnot, but he considered them all, they all pretty much the same. Vipers and troopers and all that were the same. And I actually like the differentiation. I consider the troopers like a step up or an elite version of the Vipers. I know the troopers came first, so maybe that's why I'm a little biased that way. But I also really love the Cobra officer, and they just did not have that for the Viper until way later. Hello, Superior Cyber Godzilla. How you doing, sir? I sitting here talking about one of my favorite Cobras, Cobra officer. And like I said, in the animated series, he was in quite a few episodes. There was one where he took on Scarlet with a bunch of Cobras, and she like whooped all their butts. And she asked him if he was going to do something sensible and surrender, and he said no. And he opened a pit trap, and she fell in it. But then she shot a crossbow into the ceiling and came up and kicked him in the face. It was kind of cool. Nice little interaction between what would normally be a nobody Cobra and one of the, as far as I'm concerned, one of the main characters in the G.I. Joe verse, Scarlet. There were other instances. The Jungle Trap, Cobra officer was right there with Cobra Commander through the whole thing, and he actually took Dr. Shakur, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Shakur, away from the Joe team near the beginning, and they had him through the whole thing until the Joes finally rescued him at the end. And it was kind of cool that just a regular old Cobra leader, little Cobra officer, showed up and actually was a threat to the G.I. Joe team. And they showed that quite a bit. Now, he had different voices, so there were different individuals that were the Cobra officers and all that. And that was cool, you know. As far as, like, again, in the comic book, they were all kind of just grouped together. Now, they did have one in the comic book that was Scarface. And he played a big role in the first 19 issues of G.I. Joe. Not so much in the earlier ones, but once he showed up, he was there all the way up till issue 19. And he had a major role in that issue 19, which was a big changeover from the first 2 years of G.I. Joe into the third, which is where they introduced Duke and Roadblock and a bunch of the other really cool 1984 Joes that they started introducing all the other ones from 85 on up. And Cobra officer really did not have a big role in the comic books. Now, in my head canon, he was Cobra Commander's right-hand man. He was an African-American former airborne ranger who was disgruntled by the U.S. government. And I have a full file card for him. If I can find it, I would read it real quick. But the odds of me finding that real quick are generally not very good. I'm not really good at finding things quickly, but we'll see. He was my go-to pilot for Cobra too, because I didn't have Wild Weasel for the longest time. But then when I finally picked up a Wild Weasel, naturally he kind of filled that role for Cobra. Now I've got G.I. Joe and Cobra file cards here. Let me see if I have my own file cards. I may. G.I. Joe file. I have tons of G.I. Joe file cards, and yeah, I'm not finding it right off the bat. I should have found it earlier. I wasn't thinking about showing it off while I was doing this tonight, but that would have been cool, I guess. But that's my take on Cobra officer. Again, Cobra's right-hand man, as far as I'm concerned. Really cool Cobra right from the beginning. One of the original three. You had Cobra, the enemy, which became the Cobra Trooper. You had Cobra Officer, and they were it until they put out Cobra Commander later that first year. And so he was one of the two original Cobras. In fact, Cobra was an afterthought because of Marvel Comics. when they took the GI Joe storyline to Marvel Comics, they said, well, who are they going to fight? And Hasbro hadn't even considered that. So Archie Goodwin came up with the whole Cobra concept, basically slapped the Hydra from Marvel Comics, the Cobra terminology on that, and Cobra was born. And they came up with the Cobra Trooper, the Cobra Officer, and then Cobra Commander later that year. So it was really cool, and that's where we're at with Cobra Officer. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I thought they fixed the old Python Patrol situation by making the original what they had dubbed the Cobra Officer. They originally called him the Python Trooper. I thought they fixed it when they made him a Cobra Officer, or the Python Cobra Officer, but then they brought out the Cobra Trooper as a Python Cobra Officer. So it's however you see it, I guess. I'm fine either way, really. My Cobra Officer is always going to be this guy right here. So, well, for me, actually, it's this guy right here, and my custom Cobra Officer figure that I put together, or Frankenstein together, as some of these customizers like to term it. But that's like I said, that's my take on Cobra Officer. I hope you enjoyed this, and keep on collecting GI Joe. And that all being said, Logan out. Now I'm gonna play next week's on Joe Takes so you give you a preview of what's coming up next week. So I'm gonna end the video that way. Thanks for being here, Yo Joe, Cobra, for tonight. And here's next week's.
Yeah. Oh, get over yourself. You ain't snake eyes.
And that's all three of those. Joe Takes, thanks for being here with me. Did Cobra Officer have his own real name? No, they were all different. And their file name was always, their code name was always classified. However, I have a different take on a specific Cobra Officer. I'm going to play that file card here in a little bit. Although I did have a request. Let me get this. Stop that. Stop that video. What's going on to play other things? All right. So anyway, 66 out. Have to put my robe on and a blanket. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Jess. Anyway, here's that. Ray, if you're still around, here's a pic of Crazy Legs. He came out in 1987. He was the Air Assault Trooper. You ask about him, there he is. I did. I played my take on on Tiger Force earlier. That was the first Joe take I did. Add some hot cocoa or whatever you like in your set, Jess. I agree. I agree. We actually we got some hot cocoa now, so I might have some a little later. Anyway, if you have any questions about Tiger Force or Spirit and Freedom or Cobra Officer, feel free to throw them out there. I love Tiger Force. It's definitely my favorite sub team. Spirit is definitely a super cool character, and is in my top 20. I'm pretty sure. There are so many Joes. It's hard to pick favorites. And Cobra Officer is definitely one of my very, very favorite Cobras. Probably because I had him originally. So, you know, it's one of those things that you start out with. My favorite Joe was one of the first 5 that I ever bought. And that, you know, it's probably just a nostalgia thing. Those legs do look crazy. Yeah. Mine's all messed up, and I have the legs and the arms and the head, but I have a lifeline torso on him. I have to get a new one. So if I ever do a take on Crazy Legs, I will. I'll pick up a new one. I'll try to get one off of eBay. Archie Goodwin alone created Cobra as G.I. Joe's take on G.I. Joe. Wow. Yes, Archie Goodwin actually invented Cobra because he said they need a bad guy, and he based him off Hydra from the Marvel Universe. Haven't had actual chocolate for a long time. Sometimes I put cocoa in your coffee. Cool. I'm refreshed, and I see Logan is here. Yes, I'm here now. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you have to do that with YouTube. You have to refresh it, especially when you're watching live. So yeah, I've got those 2 file cards I'm going to play for you, Spirit and Freedom, that are updates, and a lot of the same artwork, but I definitely got a lot more too. And my Cobra Officer is my file card that I wrote myself. So it's a way different take on the whole thing. I actually evolved the character from Cobra Officer to Stinger to, you know, he had a progression, and then finally to Night Adder, the second in command of Cobra Forces. So, so yeah, hopefully you guys will check them out. So here is Spirit and Freedom.
Joe, code name with Freedom, Tracker with Eagle, file name Charlie Iron Knife, Wayne, B6 Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army, birthplace, Taos, New Mexico, primary specialty, infantry, tracker, secondary specialty, social services, qualified expert, M14, M16, M19, 11A1, M3A1, M79, M60, auto arrow rifle, graduated, airborne and ranger qualified, certified psychologist, some form of Native American medicine, he's a shaman, preferred weapon, auto arrow rifle or sniper rifle. Spirit is the ultimate Native American mystic warrior. He's a shaman of deep mystery, a peerless tracker and a doctor of psychology. Spirit utilizes his tracking skills to spot barely noticeable signs of recent troop movements or camouflage enemy bunkers. A qualified expert with most NATO small arms. Spirit is equally adept with the compound bow and throwing knife. From General Hawk's Spa, Spirit is a top-notch soldier and a dedicated team player, and is highly likable. As a qualified psychologist, you actually find him easy to talk to, is my opinion. Spirit's code name is truly fitting, as he is seen as the spirit of a team. When the eagle spirit is in me, I'm the lightning from the skies, I am the thunder from the storm. Have no fear for my health, Alpine. I know, I was worried about freedom. Maybe next time I'll fix his brain. Possibility and impossibility, or states of mind in my mind. There is only the possible.
G.I. Joe is is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
Fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble, we're relentless.
Man, I'm having a fun time spelling tonight. I meant agreed. All right, now here's my file card for Cobra Officer. This is my Night Adder file card, actually, and some of my own AI generated images are pretty cool in this one.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry, Cobra.
Code name, Night Adder, also known as Fifth Sniper Officer aboard the Cobra Officer, Cobra Chief of Security, second in command of all Cobra forces. Full name, Victory Castigear, birthplace, Washington, D.C., USA, primary specialty, Ranger, Strategic Command Security, secondary specialty, fixed wing pilot, preferred weapon, MRS Industries Beast Beef 7.8 Extreme Environmental Tactical Rifle. Castigear worked his way up through the ranks of Cobra and became Cobra Commander's right hand. This determined individual truly believes the United States is corruption at its finest, and that Cobra is the ends that justify the means before signing on with Cobra. Castigear was the executive assistant to the former Secretary of Defense, who was unfortunately involved in a presidential assassination plot up to that point. Castigear believed in the system and fought for the American way. When the shit hit the fan, he's the one that was being implicated. He escaped custody and unfortunately stumbled into a car lot owned by the man who would become Cobra Commander. History will record that as unfortunate, but he doesn't. To earn Castigear's loyalty, Cobra Commander ordered Firefly to kill the Secretary of Defense. It was an American tragedy for everyone but Castigear. This endeared Cobra Commander to him to such an extent that he became totally committed to the man and all of his causes. Cobra has gone through many changes over the years, but Castigear's loyalty to the head snake has never wavered. As a former U.S. Army Ranger, he was already well versed in soldiering, but to better serve Cobra Commander, he became something far more and spent years training with Storm Shadow, Firefly, and several other martial arts masters, until he became someone to be feared physically. He's the perfect warrior, strong and lean, and being 6'4" just makes him all the more intimidating. He stood toe-to-toe with the likes of Roadblock, Beachhead, and even Snake Eyes, and come away smiling. On top of all of this, he, Cobra Commander, discovered that he had a natural gift as a pilot. Now he serves Cobra Commander as Chief of Cobra Security. He's also become quite fond of attack dogs, and is almost never without one of his highly trained pit mastiffs, as he calls them, a breed of his own design. Part pit bull mastiff and German shepherd. Night Adder now enforces the highest levels of Cobra protections, using a ruthless approach that has earned the fear of his fellow Cobra officers as well as unlucky intruders. So much so that Cobra Commander now calls him Night Adder, and although he acts as chief of all Cobra security, he has the authority to take over Cobra in the event that the commander is somehow compromised, indisposed, and/or taken captive. Lucky for the rest of Cobra Command, he'll only invoke his authority in the event that he feels that the commander is being betrayed. Cobra Commander is the only honest man alive, and I'd die for him.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry, Cobra. Cobra. Armies of the night, evil taking flight, Cobra. Cobra. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, panic spreading far and wide.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. We got a Barry in the house. Hello, sir. Coming in just as I'm about ready to take off tonight. I did show those two file cards. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I did pick up the bazooka, the original bazooka, so I have both of those now. I don't know if I managed to incorporate that into any of those bazooka videos that I've had. Hello, Barry. It's good to see you, buddy. Anyway, my assessment of Tiger Force, I still think it's one of the coolest sub teams of GI Joe. And again, I see Flint as the leader, the officer in charge, and Duke as their first sergeant. Same as with GI Joe, and Duke's kind of like their captain, and Duke is like Hawk's senior NCO. So, when Hawk's not around, Duke's in command. That's just how that works. You're welcome. You're welcome, Per. Thanks for being here. I'm glad everybody joined me tonight. I have a really good time. I can't wait to do some more Joe takes. My next one is actually going to be on Veterans Day. I'm taking a look at Shockwave. Plus, I've got the Night Force version that I got behind me there. I'm going to be taking a really good look at that and the other Shockwave figure, the blue version, the regular release line for that figure. Also on Sunday, I'm doing a quick look at the Cobra agent known as Crystal Ball, kind of like my Halloween episode for GI Joe short takes. So I hope you guys enjoy that. That'll be a vertical live. And tomorrow night is Fridays from the Hilt. We're looking at our topic take. We're looking at Jaws and Friday the 13th. We watched both of those this week in the opposite order, but still really cool movies. We enjoyed them a lot, Tiger and I. And Jake actually joined us for Jaws, so he might join us tomorrow night. I doubt it, but that would be cool if he did. And then Saturday, I'm doing Spine Ticks Live. I don't really have much going on this weekend as far as on Saturday, except for Spine Ticks Live this week. And I do have a mail call, so that's going to be cool. I'm enjoying that. Hopefully my T-shirt will be in, but they mixed up my address, so they're having some issues with that, Sith. So if you're still with me, I'm letting you know. I might not have my Spine Tick shirt this weekend, but it should be the following weekend. So cue the Jaws music. Yes, tomorrow night we will. On Fridays from the Hill. Let's see. And Monday night we're back with the session 4 and final session for Ravenloft for our Len Halloween 2024. So please join us for all of that. And we do have another premiere on Wednesday. This one's for it's Devils, Demons, and Elementals. So that should be an interesting one. The song I had a hard time rendering, but that should be pretty fun. And then next Friday night, be here, Halloween special. I got a lot of songs. Hopefully, we'll have some community songs too. We haven't got any yet, but hopefully we will. Jess included was saying she might send me some. Hopefully we'll get some more. I wasn't going to show any Bear the Gen XPM in that holiday Halloween special because most of his songs are superhero related. They kind of don't fit Halloween, but I'll definitely have at least 3 new ones, from the heroic playlist to share with you on the following week. Because with Thanksgiving, I had to switch out the schedules for Radio from the Hill so that it's on opposite weeks, so we didn't miss a Radio from the Hill next month. Hope you're doing good, Jess. Yeah, I hope you are too, Jess. I hope everything's working out for you with Tabakins, and right there with you. And on that note, I guess that's my take on my 3 G.I. Joe takes. So y'all have a good night, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Let's see. Barry sort of had to put Tabakins to sleep on Wednesday. Yes. That I'm sorry that happened, and it really sucks. I will play one more thing for you guys. I do have the On Joe takes for next month ready to go. So I was hoping I could play that for you. Let me see if it is a video that I can. I can play the short version. That way, can I play the long version? No, the long version. I'll have to play the long version as a video. Let me just do that. That way, you guys can see the full thing, and we'll end it on that note with On Joe Takes 54. Yep, that'll be our 54th episode of Joe Takes. Here is Shockwave. on Joe Takes.
It's silent tension in the air. With a mask and a mission, he's always aware. Shockwave shadow moves without a care. Justice in his blood, danger everywhere. Day or night, boots hit the pavement. It's a war zone life. Every corner turn might edge the knife. Dodging through gunfire, slicing through the strife. Living on the edge, cold steel like a knife. Let's go! Shockwave, shockwave, never backing down. Shockwave, shockwave, shadow of the town. Shockwave, shockwave, taking on the fight. Living on the edge, cold steel like a knife. Let's go! Shockwave, shockwave, never backing down. Shockwave, shockwave, shadow of the town. Shockwave, shockwave, taking on the fight. Shockwave, shockwave, bringing back the light. Gotta get tough. Your whispers in the alley, criminals beware. Armored up and ready, taking on despair. Nightmares and noises, he's got that stare. Shockwave in the shadows, taking his share. Echoes of the past, rattled in his mind. Lost souls and victories forever find. Every breath he takes, every step he's blind. Fighting for tomorrow, what will he find? He'll kick in your door, shielding forward. When he makes entry, you'll wish you were heading backwards. Let's go! Shockwave, shockwave, never backing down. Shockwave, shockwave, shadow of the town. Shockwave, shockwave, taking on the fight. Living on the edge, cold steel like a knife. Even at night, gotta get tough. Yo, Joe. Yo, Joe.
Oh, would I do a thing like that?
Unsubstantiated fantasy! Lies! Lies! Lies!
Next time, baby.